Shalom, giving all praises and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, the honors, the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, and wherever you may be. To you I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. All right, it's gonna be a quick video. This is actually a like over 2 hours, some change minutes. 2 hour podcast sit down. This guy here that you seen, I don't know his name, but his channel is Diary of a CEO, all right, or DOAC. But that's what it stands for, Diary of a CEO. Now, he does a lot of, well, actually his whole podcast is centered around having guests on his shows. All right. Now, not every one of those videos are important to watch, but if you go and check out his channel, he'll have some guests up there and they're talking about some actually pretty good topics, from time to time. And, the sit downs will usually be pretty long. And this is just one of them that I happen to be watching this morning. Okay. Because every now and then I'll check and see, exactly what he's talking about. Because, if it's an interesting topic, I'll go and check it out. But a lot of times, he'll have different guests up there, but not all, topics are important. So I just, the video doesn't really mean anything. But from this 2 hour video, okay, there was just one portion here that I clipped, out, which you see is only 3 minutes and 20, because this right here is just this video. All right. With the Asian guy everybody's talked about. I forgot his name though. But anyways, and the reason why I wanted to clip out this from that video is because it reminded me of when we once talked about China and its system. Okay, so we're gonna play this video, and then we're gonna hit the basic topic. Once you hear the conversation, all right, you pretty much see exactly where this whole topic is headed to anyways. All right, so let's play.
Okay, this is pretty bad. The world will move towards an AI surveillance state. I feel like that's already happened.
Now, real quick, what he's doing here at this portion of the show is he's going into this little, you see that right there on the bottom right, little silver box he had in, which is predictions. And these people ain't predicting nothing, all right, that they haven't heard the prophets say. But, people are, taking things and making them their own and whatever. But anyways, there's a little silver box or whatever, with envelopes in it are his predictions, okay? And so we already know he be some things he makes some good points, and the other things he's just totally wrong. According to prophecy, you're just totally wrong. All right, so he's pulling out a box of predictions, and so this is what he's going through right now, his topics, right? But it's right, I don't really care about his predictions and things of that nature. I just wanted to pull this particular topic as it came up here. So let's go.
Okay, this is pretty bad. The world will move towards an AI surveillance state. I feel like that's already happening. I think it's pretty obvious. What does that mean in reality for the average person? Because, we're seeing some of these big companies like OpenAI and Anthropic all sort of signing up to government military surveillance projects. What does that mean for the average person? Right, so for the average person, it means two things. It means digital ID and digital currency. Okay. So what that will allow is for the government to basically monitor everything you do online and control all financial transactions. It can basically program your bank account. So like you can't buy cigarettes or you can't buy drugs. And this will allow the government to basically categorize everyone and put everyone into a certain database to monitor that person.
All right. So, he's talking about maintenance and, digital IDs, okay, biometrics. All right. Even trying to throw in, kicks, because of national security, we need this and we need that. Okay. They talk about digital driver's license, digital passports, all these different things. Okay. And it's basically, they want to put everybody in a one single system of surveillance. All right. And so that's what these you got like data centers, and you got things like Palantir, all this, all this filtering for this whole system that they're trying to build. Okay. So let me just keep playing. Let's just play. I'm trying not to stop it, but yeah. Which this whole, if you watch this whole video, the whole interview is actually pretty decent up until I've watched a little bit after this because I stopped it at this point and I left out this morning, which was probably at like the hour 23rd mark. Okay, a little bit after that, and it's only like 2 hours long. But everything after that, I guess really wasn't in, when I came back, and it wasn't as great. Basically from this point back forward, this whole video actually, pretty decent. And like I said, sometimes, yeah, I guess if they had decent topics, all right. So, check it out. Let's keep going.
Once you're able to categorize everyone, you are able to use AI to predict their behavior. Isn't this what goes on in some parts of the world? This is what goes on in China. And that's how I know about this. How does it work in China? Well, in China, we all have digital ID. If you want to access anything in China, you need your digital ID. So if you want to open a bank account, you have to use a digital ID. If you want to use any e-payments, you have to use digital ID. If you want to use
Now, this is what made me think about, when we actually talked about this topic. The video with the woman and her husband. Her husband was recording her as she was going throughout, basically a typical day that she was living, all right, in China. And so the center focus is her cell phone. So in her cell phone, just like we all have credit scores, right? We can go online and Experian or whatever and check out our credit score. So the only difference between a basic credit score and this digital system is that the whole thing is just that it's digital. Okay, if that makes sense. I hope I, kind of explained that to the best. All right, but anyways, so in their cell phone, they have their digital credit score. Obviously, they're connected to that because they have to identify themselves, right? So they go in the stores, they scan a QR code, all right, on the outside of a store, which pretty much really gives a location, all right, in a sense. But it's also probably for shopping purposes, okay. And then they have to, when they want to purchase something, they have to identify themselves, and everything goes basically through their phone, which has an app. All right, man, I'm trying to remember the name of them because I'm talking about them. I think it's the Alipay or the WeChat. Was it that? I can't remember. It was two different apps. Excuse me, but you had to have one or the other to even operate in society in China. And simple fact, the word app let you know it's on their phone. All the information is on the phone. So all this is connected through their phone, which connects back to the whole government itself. Okay. There was even a portion in the video where her and her husband, he was thirsty. She was like, okay, I'm gonna buy you, something. What do you want to drink? Water. Oh, what do you want? I want that water, right? So then she got surprised when she was about to purchase the water for her husband. She didn't know that she could purchase the water scanning her face. Okay, so the picture I'm painting here is China has a whole entire digital system. Only thing they need is to move away from the actual cell phone to the actual microchip. Okay, and that's the ultimate goal of the Wicked Elite. You're now this walking, talking, trackable smartphone, laptop, or whatever, right? All your medical data, your likes, dislikes, where you purchase and where are you, and anything you could think of, your like probably check your temperature, your mood, okay, and all this matters, and that's part of them playing God. So China just one step away, which is in their cell phone from these apps and things, taking that and moving that to the side and bringing in the microchip, and bam, there's their system. Okay.
phone, you have to use digital ID. If you want to use a phone, you have to use digital ID. Okay, so everyone's part of this national database, and then what this allows government to do is basically monitor everything you do, because basically, depending on how you buy things, I can then extrapolate to figure out your behavior. And then I can figure out your thinking.
See that? And that's exactly what they want to do. See? Let me play it back.
Extrapolate to figure out, because basically, depending on how you buy things, I can then extrapolate to figure out your behavior. And then I can figure out your thinking, right? And then I can create incentives in order to guide.
Now, incentives is one thing, but real quick, before I let him, keep talking, right? This is also part of, a lot of times where you're searching, man, my socks are all, they have holes in them. I need to buy new socks. Thinking where I want to get, the most comfortable socks from. You haven't decided yet. And all of a sudden you just see ads for socks. Now, sometimes you're not even looking for things, but they throw ads at you. But specifically, they'll start to throw ads at you because it's catered to you. And so that all also falls into this particular, thing that he's talking about now. It also falls into that category. Okay. But this is really truly, controlling, basically the perceived world around you through collecting all your data, all right, and running it through their system, and then feeding you back what they want, and then throwing those incentives in there and say, hey, if you do this, you might get this, or like with this credit score, if you do this, you can get an extra point or 2 points or whatever on your credit score. If you don't do this, all right, well, if you do too much of that, all right, you might take some points. So we'll give you a warning, but you keep on now. We're gonna, your credit score drops and so on and so forth. So, it's a system, where really it's a scare tactic system without the scare. Because they're not like, making people crap their pants, but when it comes to functioning in society, they understand the system, and so they're more willing to go by the rules than to break them because they're scared of being locked out of society. So it's a scare tactic without the actual scare.
And control your behavior. So in China, can they see everything that you do? Yes, they can. Messages you send, everything. Payments you make, everything. Everything. Everything you do online is being recorded and is being inputted into the database to figure out who you are, what you want, and how to control you. And they think this is progress, by the way. This is progress because I'm making you a better person, right? I'm helping you achieve your dream. I'm helping you lose weight. I'm helping you avoid drugs. I'm helping you work harder. Well, won't you be in trouble if you talk against this system? Well, me personally. Okay, so I operate in a gray area where I do not interact with the Chinese internet. So everything I do is in English. It's meant for consumption in the Western world. And I don't talk to Chinese reporters. I don't talk to Chinese social media. I have no Chinese media presence.
Yeah, because they shut him down. All right. Some of the things that he talks about, they shut him down. Okay. Or like he says here at the end, I'll let him say it himself.
And I am not at all influential in China. And I prefer it that way because if I ever became famous in China, then they would obviously want to control me in order to better influence other people.
They basically said, they want to control me to better influence other people. So basically, they would step to him, all right, let him know the deal, probably even threaten him, okay, all right, that since so many people are looking at you, these are the things that you're going to say or talk about or, drive people to, believe in, all right? So, yeah, and that's the same thing that, which is funny, because now thinking about it, going back to the lady with the video with the woman and her husband, all right, her husband kept asking her, a couple things that would actually have her break the whole, I mean, I guess you could say law, but, how the whole system is set up. And she would either kind of skirt the issue or go around, the actual answer because she was afraid of, being, hit with some kind of violation which would affect her credit score. So yeah, I mean, it's like you take one of the profits and you set them in China right now. It's just not it's not gonna go. All right, in the capital city, near somewhere that Xi Jinping, is off the net, and it's a profit out there. It's just not gonna fly. Okay, so kind of put you in the kind of the zone that kind of the angle where we're coming from, right? So basically, silencing him or guide his direction, so others won't basically buck up. So they use him as a mechanism to keep people into the system, all right, so to speak. So that little voice, because that was it for them right there, because they're going to something else now. But yeah, that little portion there was very interesting. I actually want to play it back one more time, all right, just so you can really fully catch everything that they said there, because it was a bit very interesting session they had here. But this one kind of caught my eye more than anything else.
Okay, this is pretty bad. The world will move towards an AI surveillance state. I feel like that's already happening. I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah. What does that mean in reality for the average person? Because, we're seeing some of these big companies like OpenAI and Anthropic all sort of signing up to government military surveillance projects. What does that mean for the average person? Right. So for the average person, it means two things. It means digital ID and digital currency. Okay. So what that will allow is for the government to basically monitor everything you do online and control all financial transactions. It can basically program your bank account. So like you can't buy cigarettes or you can't buy drugs. And this will allow the government to basically categorize everyone and put everyone into a certain database to monitor that person. And once you're able to categorize everyone, you are able to use AI to predict their behavior. Isn't this what goes on in some parts of the world? This is what goes on in China. And that's how I know about this. How does it work in China? Well, in China, we all have digital ID. If you want to access anything in China, you need your digital ID. So if you want to open a bank account, you have to use a digital ID. If you want to use any e-payments, you have to use digital ID. If you want to use a phone, you have to use digital ID. Okay, so everyone's part of this national database, and then what this allows government to do is basically monitor everything you do, because basically, depending on how you buy things, I can then extrapolate to figure out your behavior, and then I can figure out your thinking, right? And then I can create incentives in order to guide and control your behavior. So in China, can they see everything that you do? Yes, they can. Messages you send, everything. Payments you make, everything. Everything. Everything you do online is being recorded and it's being inputted into the database to figure out who you are, what you want, and how to control you. And they think this is progress, by the way. This is progress because I'm making you a better person, right? I'm helping you achieve your dream. I'm helping you lose weight. I'm helping you avoid drugs. I'm helping you work harder. Well, won't you be in trouble if you talk against this system? Well, me personally. Okay, so I operate in a gray area where I do not interact with the Chinese internet. So everything I do is in English. It's meant for consumption in the Western world. And I don't talk to Chinese reporters. I don't talk to Chinese social media. I have no Chinese media presence. And I am not at all influential in China. And I prefer it that way because if I ever became famous in China, then they would obviously want to control me in order to better influence other people. What's your...
So yeah, that's pretty much it on that video. Actually, just swiped it off. So let me grab this book. You're just gonna hit a couple scriptures. We're gonna close it right on now. As a matter of fact, of course, we gotta hit the main one, right? Not necessarily, but it may as well. So Revelation 13, because the whole point of that video is what this leads up to is what Esau's building up to. All right, a reset of this current system. All right, and back online with a digital one. All right, digital, central bank digital currency. All right, then the micro Ch1ps. All right, and it's basically it gives him somewhat of a level of power, all right, if you will. We're going to use that word, all right. A whole system of control over the people, because all they see you as is, is cattle anyways, right? Like he was explaining, oh, I'm making you a better person, all right, better this, better that, I'm helping you do this and help you not do that, or stay away from this, and so on and so forth, all right. And that's why he was talking about the whole incentive program and all these different things, all right. So yeah, it's all a system of control over the people that it leads to. All right. So it says he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save either had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. 666 embedded in their UPC. All right, which will be on that chip, which they want to put inside everybody. Okay, especially you Israelites. That's part of him getting inside of your temple, like it says in 1 Corinthians 3:16. No, you're not the year of the temple. All right, we had our ancient temples, okay, that were ready, torn down, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so the third temple, which is a spiritual, like Peter says, a spiritual house, a spiritual third temple. All right, which if you're the third temple, how are you defiling your temple now? Same way, an idol being inside of your temple, but this time the idol is uh Esau and his device, because you're making Esau your idol, your God, your savior, your everything. All right, so he's the one that you're idolizing by taking his device and putting it inside your temple, or aka your body, and you're defile your body. So your temple will be destroyed, it will be brought down. Okay, so it says here is, yeah, so yeah, pretty much that's it. 16, we can probably get 18 too, but well, because we mentioned 666. So here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and six. All right, so this is all part of his whole system of his control over the people. This is his idea of being God. All right, like it says in 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4. All right, he wants to claim himself to be God, sitting in the seat of God, showing himself that he is God. All right. As a matter of fact, let me read that real quick and we'll come back. Because it pretty much goes along with what we were just about to read, anyways. Not 2 and 2, 2 and 4. So who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the highest, or that is worshipped. See, he opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. So basically, that's the Heavenly Father. All right, he wants to set himself in the Heavenly Father's space and be worshipped over the Heavenly Father himself. Okay. All right. It says, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sit in the temple of God in you by way of his microchip, showing himself that he is the highest. All right. So let's go back. All right. So, um, yeah, let's get 12 through. I was going to say 15, but we'll see. So Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? All right, these so-called elites. Okay. Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, which is their mind, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. All right, and that's what they've done. They've exalted themselves above us Israelites within the basis of men, saying even a portion of their branch house, saying that they're us. They also, constantly, some people are just lying, saying they're going into space, but they're trying to go to the moon, to Mars, and stuff like that. And they send up their satellites and other things in that nation. All right, that nation, excuse me, of that nature. Okay, so it says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be what, like the Most High." This is their ultimate goal of becoming God through AI, as if it's gonna just cancel out the real living God. But that's the weak, feeble mindset of Esau, because he was set up to be that particular opposition. All right. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, all right, to the grave. And also just they're going to be brought down to this low state, right, to hell. All right, because hell is the grave, but it's also a condition that you play off, that you play out here in the earth, and they're going to be, because like we're in hell now, right? We're soon going to be exalted in the kingdom of heaven. All right, brought down the scripture say in Ezekiel, he brought down the high tree and exalted the low tree. The high tree is Esau in his current kingdom, right? The low tree is us. And the kingdom of heaven has not been established yet, but that's what we're going to be exalted to, into the kingdom of heaven, to a status way above any other nation, like we're supposed to be according to Deuteronomy 7:6. See? And so they're going to be in hell, all right, as a condition. All right, Deuteronomy 30:7. He's going to put all these curses upon our enemies. And then eventually, after 1,000 years, we're not the other nations, but Esau is going to be, taken out. All right. So he will eventually be brought to the grave itself. But yeah, so yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, "Is this the man that made the earth to tremble?" Yeah, these nobodies, man. Old rich men doing evil, drinking blood, and plotting wickedness, and right, and so on and so forth. Okay, these are the men that were running the earth that did this. These set, handful number so-called illuminated families. All right, these secret society men, and the men that own the banks, and that sit at the helm of countries and things of that nature. Yeah, these men. Okay, these weak, feeble, frail, men running from justice. But behind the scenes, they can seem all powerful because of the things that they're able to accomplish and do in the earth, right? Because of what their blessing, the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above, and they were given a great sword to take peace from the earth, right? So when they're brought down, right, everybody's going to look at this man in astonishment, like, this guy, all right, these people, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness? Yep, you're tearing up everything, all right. You jacked up the air, all right, the food, okay, the water, the ocean. Now I say water and ocean because I'm talking about our drinkable water, but as well as the ocean water, which affects the ocean life. Yeah, the earth itself, the earth on our feet. Okay, um, Buzz is going in and talk about these data centers, and the water it takes, and all this pollution and trash and oil spills and chemicals, and their center for disease control, making diseases, and putting them out in the earth to test them on people, and coming and saying, I got a solution, and all this madness that you do. All right, you're the one who has jacked up the earth, all right, worse than any nation on this planet. Okay, because obviously every nation is guilty of some kind of form of pollution, but not to the level of Esau. All right, they made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. Okay, ultimately us. All right, those Israelites who are going to be found in his hands when the Lord's return. He's going to give them the business. All right. So there you go. Let me get 18. It says, all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch. And as the raiment, because we just talked about this, right? And as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never, never be renowned. See, the scriptures say that it is in his inward thoughts, that his houses shall continue forever. That's what they think, like it says in Isaiah. All right, I shall sit a lady, and be a widow, never be, something like that. Shall sit as a queen, and shall be no widow. But it says, but these two things shall come to thee one day. All right, death, mourning, famine, so on and so forth. All right. So Esau, well, he thinks he has his own plan. Right, he might have his little left-handed plan, but the real plan is the plan of the Lord. All right, so all this, technology and mass surveillance and microchips and digital systems and all this mess that he's formulating, cooking up, all right, which is really just him doing the will of the Lord on the left-hand side. Ultimately, at the end of that will being fulfilled, that prophecy being fulfilled, he will be taken out of power and out of the way. Okay, and the elect of the nation of Israel will be delivered. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Lord willing, you will edify to next time, Yasharala. I'm gonna say, matter of fact, hold on, wait, because now, yeah, we gotta read this. prepare slaughter, verse 21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So you've already done that. And you've done nothing but wickedness, lies, deceit, wickedness, all kinds of evil everywhere. All right. In all ages. Okay. All generations and all ages, from the elderly to the young, to the babies, to the pregnant women. Okay. All ages and all generations, man. Okay, but no more. This is your last go round, right? We're in the little season, like it says in Revelation 20, the season of Idumea. Eat you Edomites. But this is the end of your season now. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord Yahweh Shah of hosts of armies, and cut off from Babylon the name, all right, that the reputation of this place, America, as well as the reputation of Esau, both going to be coming to an end. All right. But anyways, this is a cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, said the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Hawashah. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, said the Lord of hosts. That's the missiles destroying this place. See? So there you go. So this time we'll actually close it. Lord willing, you edify. Shalom.